I got duped.
Right now I have to stop saying Right now I have to stop saying
What time's the 8:30 show start?
Right now I have to stop saying
right there.
About 11 seconds. Here we are.
I hit it about 8 times. It didn't play. I don't know why.
This is Stars After Dark. I don't know if you can tell it's a little hazy in here. I don't know what's going on.
Concert vibes.
There's something coming up from the restaurant down on the first floor. We're on the top floor, but
They're smoking doobies.
we got a game tonight. There's some storylines to tell you about too.
Anything going on?
Yeah, you know what?
Anybody new in the lineup?
The Moose.
They going with the same.
The Moose
lineup?
is loose.
The Moose is here. Moosin. There's multiple Moosin. Right here.
It?
You don't say Moosin. No, that's a Brian Regan joke.
Meese.
It's not that either. Moose and Moose, singular and plural. Let's start the pregame show. Stars are in Edmonton tonight.
Get ready, boys.
Yep, look at that. On the left, the newest Dallas Star. Well, we won't be seeing him wearing a red helmet tonight, but he will have number 96. And did you know he is not the first Dallas Star to wear number 96?
I did know.
If he has the same debut that the first guy to wear that number, Fabian Brunstrom,
Met him up there in the alumni booth
a couple weeks ago.
it would be a heck of a debut for Miko Rantanen.
He's running a training facility back in where's he from? Sweden, Switzerland.
Yeah.
Switzerland, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'd have to look
got
it
some
up.
training facility there.
Maybe Swedish. That's sad. We should know this. But anyway, Miko Rantanen will make his Dallas Stars debut tonight. We have Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, our producer, John Anderson.
Squirrel. That was supposed to be Squirrel. By the way,
Swedish.
one of you hooligans has your laptop charger over the mic thing, and now I have to go find out who it is.
You don't have to find out. It's right here.
That's definitely me.
I don't have a charger.
Yep, that was all
Now
about
in 30
me.
seconds, I'll find out if it's fixed or
Not
not.
me, John. You see that? I got all my stuff where it's
Les
supposed to
doesn't
be.
even have a laptop.
What's this thing?
And it's a tablet with a
Well, what
keyboard
the
on
hell?
it.
What's the difference?
Computing
Kind of
power.
like it's technology.
iPad too, if you'd prefer.
That'd be nicer
It'd be nicer.
for you.
Maybe not.
I
Maybe
just
low.
use this as a book.
Stop popping
book
up with
stand.
all your.
So, hey, we've got a super chat already.
Oh
What?
no! Here
Let's
we
let's
go.
start it off.
All right, it's fixed.
Pregame super
ahead, John.
chat up in here.
Oh, super chat.
Yeah.
I was listening to make sure that
Yeah,
your
the
error
buzzing
had
was
been
gone. That was all on
rectified.
me. Yep, I put it over the interference. So Marshall second, who had 6 super chats, I think, yesterday.
Did you get throw 2 hats?
Was it Marshall second? No, he didn't have 6, was it? I can't remember now. I can actually look it up. It was Michael Moore had all the super chats. But anyway,
Michael Moore, the producer.
Marshall second, a DeSmith 99.
Producer, Michael Moore.
Right now, I have to
Michael Bay.
stop saying stank. That's right, guys. No Logan Stankoven. We'll get to him in just a minute.
Rough.
We read your super chat, but we're going to go out of order. Miko Rantanen will make his Dallas Stars debut. We
Look
found
at
out
Kevin.
this morning
Kevin's up watching.
that Luds, he's going to play on the line that we thought with Robertson and Hintz, and they're going to go right after this thing. Do you expect much of a feeling out process?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be some with a new guy. I mean, he doesn't have a chance to practice. I don't think he got to a practice, right? He went
Morning
from-
skate.
Oh, well, that's
That's not a practice.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll bet you they did run lines, though. I would think, just
Yeah.
in his case.
Yep.
Which is nothing. Yeah, I think there's going to be a little. I don't know. To be honest with you, I mean, obviously, Roope and him are familiar. So, Robo, the way that Robo plays, he kind of comes in from certain areas that I think they both are going to find him. So, we'll see. I really don't think that this is going to take a long time before they click because they're all high-level skilled players. I'm just curious because we were talking. It sounds like he's going to start on the power play too. That's one area I thought you would, just the way it's been going,
Yeah.
you would just kind of let it keep
Put
going.
him on the
but
second unit to start.
But
at
you
least,
didn't pay a king's ransom for him and then extend him for 12 a year for 8 years to have him play on the second power play unit, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, they know way better than we do than how the chemistry is between these guys, and that's all it's going to be. I mean, as good as this guy is, at least when he was playing with Colorado, as good as he was, I just don't think it's going to be a big change for him or challenge for him.
It might be closer to that. It might be for him. It might be like, finally, I get to just go out and play how I know how to play, like I did with Colorado instead of Carolina, which obviously was a big adjustment.
And the good thing is the guy that he played with in Colorado has a ton of speed going through the middle of the ice too.
Yeah.
So there is that.
The benefit that he's played with Roope Hintz at the Four Nations, they weren't on the same line, but he was playing with Lehkonen and Barkov, but he was on the top power play with Hintz. Now, the Finns were only okay. I didn't think Rantanen had a great tournament. I didn't think Hintz had a great tournament. Roope Hintz has been much better in the last week. He's gotten his act together from that. Rantanen, I'm not making an excuse for him, guys, but I wonder if he was in just complete shambles mentally because of the trade to then go to try to play for Finland when his life was completely turned upside down.
Absolutely. I don't. It seems like he was caught off guard with the trade. It seems like when he got there, he never really settled in. So I think that was affecting him, and maybe similar to when Robo was kind of going through not being selected and having a hard time, and then decided to turn it the other way and say, okay, I'm going to start getting my game together, and you're going to make sure you pick me for the Olympic team. And I'm sure the mental part of the game is, in a game, we always say this game is played from 80% is from the neck up, the way the game is played. So you got to be in the right place when you're playing these games.
And if you're talking about a fit, since February 10th, Roope Hintz and Jason Robertson are the two leading scorers in the NHL. So I know it's only 7 or 8 games, but even before then, they were starting to climb up from January 1st on. That's 2 players that are hot right now, and I think the fit is perfect. So nice place to come in.
I'm guessing Miko went up to him and said, so, hey, guys. And they probably said, Miko, just give us the puck. Look at our stats. Just give us the puck.
Yeah, we're flying right now.
Go give us the puck and then go to your right side.
The only thing that I worry is the 2 guys that he's playing with are going to want to get him into it more and give it to him too much.
You try to defer?
Well, if you try to force things to him, just play us if it was anybody else over there. And it's not, but if there was anybody else over there, just play the way you 2 guys have been playing. He'll catch up to you.
It's a big dude, too.
Yeah, he's got some.
Watching him walk in the arena today, that's a big guy.
When you have the nickname Moose, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So the numbers for Rantanen, 632 career NHL games, mostly with Colorado. He has 687 career points, so more than a point a game, 289 goals, 10th overall in 2015. And I bring that up to tell you that was only 2 picks before Denis Gurianov. I was hoping, we were doing a draft show on the ticket that day in 2015. I was hoping, I'm not sure why. I just remember hearing huge scouting reports about Rantanen. I was hoping he was going to fall to Dallas. I knew they were high on him, but he never got there, and that wasn't a surprise.
What year is that?
This was 2015.
Okay.
And they took Gurianov
10 years.
two picks later. But here's the thing that really stands out to me, and Elliot Friedman does a lot of reporting on this. We heard a bunch of his talk today. It sounds like Rantanen wanted to come to Dallas. The fact that he has never, look, it happens in free agency, right? Alexander Radulov had never played for the Dallas Stars, but he was convinced to sign. Joe Pavelski had never played in Dallas. He signed. Thank you, John. And so it happens. But in this instance, in the end, it sounds like, based on the reporting, that Rantanen kind of at the last minute before this deal was sort of wavering said, that's where I want to go figure it out. Find a way to get me there.
Oh, yeah, and I would think because of the Finnish mafia that we have here, that I think that made it a lot easier. Anytime you're going to get traded, I think the biggest concern is how do you fit in with the group, and you don't know anybody, and I only know a couple guys, and now I think this is easy and seamless, and I wonder if he just talks more than those guys.
Well, he had Finns, Lehkonen, Joel Kiviranta. It's on the Avalanche. Aho.
Carolina has the most, don't they?
Kotkaniemi's there. Teravainen. So it's not like he was by himself, but between being blindsided by the trade, going to the Four Nations, and not having any really prolonged homestands in Raleigh, I don't know if he had time to ever get a real feel, but from what we've been reading, it sounds like it just didn't feel like home to him.
Yeah, he didn't want to stay there, and that's what you just said about wanting to come here is what we've talked about so many times. Players wanting to come here, players wanting to take cheaper deals to stay here. The organization, how good they are, top to bottom, how the city is, and that all comes into play because Rantanen said even this morning, and then in brief conversations yesterday that he wanted stuff outside of just hockey. Right, this is 8 years of his life. He wanted to love the city. He wanted to be happy there. He wanted to be able to have a family and be there, and that is what didn't hit in Raleigh. And I think the fact that the structure there and the way they play the game, plus the fact that he didn't, I mean, you can't not love the city. He was there for 30 days, 40 days, but you can quickly understand if you do love it, if you absolutely fall in love with the city. And he's been here a lot with Colorado, and he obviously liked the outside of the rink with Dallas as well as on the ice.
Yeah, maybe it had something to do with Texas.
That helps.
I think that's a huge difference.
I think he was going to make more than if he did 13 in Carolina, right?
Yes, or Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah. You even 14 in Colorado. Jeez. It would have been very similar to 12 in Dallas. And it sounded like Dallas was actually not at 12 when they started. That was like their upper limit.
Yep.
They went to it, but that's probably not the initial offer, which is probably why they were so far apart when they initially started the negotiations.
And how about the cojones on Jim Nill? Apparently, all we get is the reports. We don't get confirmation, but it sounds like they were ready to back away and start looking for other options when they weren't coming down to what they thought it was going to be.
They weren't going to go past their limit.
Yeah, which is great. Again, that's how you get this GM of the Year award and build a franchise.
But it's also because you have the cards, right? Yeah. You're sitting there, Luds, with a good enough roster that you're taking a big swing, but you know that if it doesn't work out, you don't have to give up extra or pay too much because you still have a phenomenal team. Now, this is just a huge transcendent move, but it's a lot easier to call the other team's bluff or play hardball when you have a good hand.
Yeah, I think these guys don't go into these negotiations not being able to know every little move that your opponent's going to make from the negotiating standpoint. They knew exactly how high they could go, and they were going to stand strong as long as they could. And I think they had their number. And at some point when the tone changed, probably with an agent to Jim and Mark Janko, and they probably went, he's spending a little bit here. Let's what if we bump it up an extra couple 100,000 or 500,000, and maybe that's what it was.
Is this
maybe on Tuesday we'll find out?
Is this the first superstar that Dallas has had since Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn were unbelievable 9 years ago?
Jason Spezza was a big signing,
but like that level. I'm talking superstar.
I mean,
since when?
Spezza's a pretty big name.
I mean, Seguin and Benn were superstars when Benn won the Art Ross and Seguin first came.
You're talking about top 10 offensive player.
top 10, 20 guys. I'm just trying to think because we always talk about how like Dallas doesn't really have superstars. They have a deep team
I think
that
Hully
does a
would
lot.
Fit into that category, wouldn't he? Or are you talking?
No, that
he said the most
recent.
Yeah,
it's just
you don't mean in the old days.
Yeah. I mean,
when the games were on black and white TV. Yeah. Okay.
Look, Jamie Benn won an Art Ross, so he was in that category. Seguin was in that category of he was one of the marquee players. Before that, maybe it was Brad Richards who had a couple of big years. It was one particular big year, but it was Hull, Modano, Zubov, that group.
It's crazy.
So, this is a big deal. The other side of it is, of course, the subtraction of Logan Stankoven. He practiced with the Hurricanes today. They just announced that he will wear a new number because 11 is taken by their captain, Jordan Stahl. He's going to go with 22. And kind of in a funny way, Jack Roslovic, who accepted a free Rolex from Miko Rantanen for giving Rantanen his 96 in Carolina, is going to go back to 96.
Good deal.
So, free Rolex, spent about 6 weeks wearing a different number, now goes back to it. And, that goes back to the super chat that Marshall sent in about missing Stankoven. I understand people grew very fond of the young forward. He was very candid. He did an interview with, I believe, the Kamloops Blazers announcer, and he said this hurt. He was upset. This was a surprise. Luds, he had a trip for tomorrow's game. A bunch of his parents and friends and family all taking buses from down to Vancouver because it was playing in his home province. So that's the business of hockey. Sometimes these happen.
I think that's because of his stature and the way that he played and every single night. And I think it came from the love that he got from his teammates. to appreciate the way that he played the game and the areas that he would go to the front of the net. I'm talking about in the corners and just his work ethic. And it seems like he's, a quiet kind of kid, goes about his business, does his thing. And, it doesn't take long for, and again, when you're on a team that's winning a lot, everybody kind of gets closer together all the time. Yeah. So it's always tough to leave that.
Yeah. I talked to Logan today. I'm not going to give out all that. I'm going to write an article on it tomorrow morning with all of it. But a couple of takeaways that really hit me. I mean, again, hit me, like what we're talking about here with Marshall. You can feel how shocked he still was. And this is after skating with Carolina.
This is his first big welcome to the business of the NHL experience, and personal experience.
He said a couple of the biggest things that was disappointing because he saw a future here too. He was drafted here. He was developed here. He really grew with this team. A couple of his best friends with Wyatt Johnston and Thomas Harley. He's living in the same building as them. He's got a great setup on a team that's going to be a contender for basically as long as he's here. And then all of a sudden it just snapped. And he actually told me that he was hearing rumors about this when we were hearing him at midnight that night, Thursday. Sure. His friends were texting him like, "Are you getting traded?" And he's like, "I have no idea." And he went to bed just having no clue. And that feeling just to not know for all the way up until he said he didn't hear until about 2:30 the next day.
Yep.
That's a lot of stress and a lot of not knowing for where your future is going to be.
Let's talk about more, especially the good news officially for Wyatt Johnston on the other side of this. Remember, Stankoven makes his Carolina debut tomorrow afternoon against the Winnipeg Jets. So by the time we get for our pregame show tomorrow against the Canucks, we'll be able to tell you about that right here on the DLS Dallas Stars pregame show.
First, let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper is the best fantasy platform out there, period. Put your ball or puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite player will have more or less in their projected stats each day, night, or week. I'll give you my picks in a second here, but with Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper also keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries, so you can always stay informed. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLSSTARS to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Now let's roll right into the picks here. As you can see, I have Mr. Cha-ching Wyatt Johnston scoring the goal tonight, which is 2.62 times if it hits. Then I have the new guy, Miko Rantanen, also getting on the board, scoring a goal, which is 2.43 times in his debut tonight. Then I did some scrolling here because I was looking for something non-stars. Nothing really tickled me, though. There's a lot of good stuff. You got some guys that, Connor McDavid, you got some guys that you want to go, but you can't go against them, right? So I finally land on Mr. Jake Oettinger. More than 26.5 saves tonight against a team that likes to shoot the puck. That's a 1.78 times. Altogether, 11.2 times your money. That's some big money.
Thank you, Sam. Let's talk about Wyatt Johnston quickly, and then we'll move on to some other things. But we announced it yesterday, but the Stars didn't actually send out the release until today. So it is officially official. 5 years, $8.4 million AAV. Interesting note. He will be 27. He's 21 right now. He turns 22 in May. When the season ends of his last year of his extension, which will be 6 years from now, 5.5 years, he'll be 27. So that goes right up to UFA status. So unrestricted free agency. That's good for him because he has a lot of control. The part that really stands out to me, Luds, he has a modified no trade clause in only his last year, which is the 29-30 season, with a 10-team no trade list. So they gave him a little extra protection as he approaches that UFA year when the Stars will, if he continues on this path, they're going to want to give him a ton of money and lock him in because he might even be wearing the C by then.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they're going to, he'll be having an idea what 2-3 years down the road. Yeah. They're already going to have something planned to move on.
Even if they can't do it until the final year.
Yeah, and I just, the trajectory that he's on right now, and even if he's out on off season, he's gonna keep getting better and better. And then as soon as we heard it, and the key was I didn't hear the term of it, and so then all of a sudden when you hear 5 years, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because I originally thought that number's got to start at least 9 with him.
Yeah,
I know he's a young kid and everything that's going on, but with the salary cap and everything going up. But it's planning. I mean, they just did it, and I think it was an easy negotiation because they gave him that to say, wait, we want more. Oh no, wait. So only 5 years? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that takes me to 20. Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
I mean, it seems like a win-win, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The Stars get someone they want locked up for 5 years, and Wyatt gets to say, I'm going to show you that I'm worth even more than this when the salary cap is way higher.
Do it around here in Texas and Dallas. Isn't that
I just noticed something about Rantanen. Did you guys see that they just on Victory Plus had Razor interview him? Razor's a pretty big guy.
He's
Rantanen taller than
big.
Daryl Ray. Razor's 6'4".
Moose.
I mean, we know this, but to me,
be so shocked. Moose.
I'm not shocked.
No one's big on this team usually, so it's like
Buddy, this isn't
when they do come here,
it's shock. It's just, to me, that's a great perspective of just how big he is. I thought, because we've known Razor for a long time. He's a pretty tall guy.
He is 6'4", 215 according to the site.
Yeah, but Razor says he's 6'4". So
yeah, Razor's 6'4" on the NHL roster.
That first photo of Sam standing next to Miko Rantanen in the locker room. So
Are you thinking Razor stats?
I've talked to Bishel, so
Razor. Razor lies about his stats. He lies about his.
So does everybody.
We're talking about height,
all of his number, everything.
All right. So we'll move on from the Wyatt Johnston stuff. Big milestone night for Evgeny Dadonov and Sam Steel. Dadonov will play in his 600th career NHL game tonight. Steel in his 400th. Just happens that they line up. And actually, it only happened because Steel had that one healthy scratch recently. So by doing that, they both line up on the same day. 599 games in the NHL for Evgeny Dadonov. 159 goals, 354 points. Steel in 399 games, only 49 goals, but 137 points. Both have been fantastic additions for this Dallas Stars lineup.
I really like Dadonov. Is he 35, 34, 35?
I believe he was at least 35.
If you didn't know that, you wouldn't think it the way he plays. And again, up and down the lineup, wherever you need him, you know what you're getting from the player every single night. And with Steel,
turning 36
in
a couple days. He's turning 36 in a couple days.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know that.
Not at all.
Not the way he plays. Smart player, knows where to be on the ice, and he still has that hop. He's got that hop for that age. So, and I didn't realize Steel was as good as he is. He really is. I thought, well, he's a good fourth liner, but if you want to move him up the lineup, he can move up the lineup. And he's got some skill, and we've seen the speed, and he can put the puck in the net when he gets an opportunity. So he's not going to be a 30-goal scorer, but I think the other thing about him is he understands what his role is.
Yeah.
He understands what he's supposed to do. When he's on the third line, he can maybe a little bit more of this, but when he's playing, down there, he does his job.
It's funny you said didn't know he was that good. That's exactly how I feel about both those players because Steel, you just said it all. Dadonov, some of the plays he makes with the puck, me and Robert will just look at each other. It's become like a joke in the press box. He'll make a play, just catching a pass that's way behind him. He'll make a one-handed catch off his skate in stride. And I'm like, that guy's on your fourth line.
Right. And I'll tell you what, when he came here, when he was moved here, I was like, wait a second. I think he's been on like 4 teams in the last 5 years or something like that. And usually there's something there. There's something to them. And then he was part of that whole Vegas thing.
The fake trade,
Yeah, that whole thing. But I mean, and then you get here and you're like, I don't understand why teams are moving on from this guy because he can play anywhere.
The Stars will have to face the Oilers tonight, who made 2 trades around the deadline. They will not see Trent Frederick. He's still on the IR, but they acquired him from Boston on March 4th on a 3-team deal using New Jersey. We talked about that when the Stars were playing the Devils in Dallas earlier this week. And then yesterday they picked up defenseman Jake Wallman from the San Jose Sharks. Let's take a look at the lineups here, John. We'll start with the defense for the Oilers. They have Wallman slated to start with Troy Stetcher on the 3rd unit. Matthias Ekholm is out with an illness again tonight. He'll miss another game. Luddy, I know this may be just easing him in, but Wallman's not going to play 3rd pairing minutes with this club.
No, but yeah, he'll move up. But the big miss is Ekholm. They need him in the lineup. I mean, that's their rock back there. Numbers show it, plus minus, and everything shows it. So the other guy that we're not going to get to see is John Klingberg.
Yeah, he's out with an undisclosed injury. This will be his 2nd straight game out of the lineup. Weird to see him in 36. So what do you think about the Oilers right now? They're 2-6-0 in the month of February, including a 5-game losing streak. They are 2-1 in their last 3 to start March. But what's going on in Edmonton right now?
Well, their last 10 games they're getting about 2.5 goals a game.
That's low for them.
And they're giving up 4.5. I mean, their record's like 4-6, I think, something like that in their last 10, right?
Yep.
I don't know. Well, number 97 is not the same guy this year altogether. So whatever that is, but the one guy that is the constant is Leon Draisaitl. I mean, he's got 10 goals over those same 10 games.
It's almost a goal a game guy.
It's just
it's crazy.
It is. I think he's just been so underappreciated because of playing next to McDavid, probably, and he doesn't always need McDavid. Sometimes they'll split him up, and I think they'll probably have him split up again tonight to start the game. That doesn't mean anything. They're going to get together. They're going to be together on the power play. So I just think this team is not the same team as it was that went to the finals last year that beat Dallas.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, since January 15th, Edmonton is 500, exactly 500. They're 27th in goals against, as Les was just talking about. And then if you look at those guys, at Connor McDavid, I mean, let's be honest. If Connor McDavid isn't Connor McDavid, this team isn't what this team can be. It's just as simple as that. In the last 11 games, McDavid 41st in scoring. 12 points in 11 games. He's still over a point a game. But for McDavid, that's big difference. He's minus 13 in that time. And then you go back even further, he's 31st in scoring since the new year turned, minus 10. That's a big sample size, and he is now, from what we hear, either tired, injured, or both from that Four Nations break. That's not going to help.
And when you watch games, he doesn't pop off the screen. Generally, he jumps off the screen. There's times you'll go through and you're like, McDavid hurt? You don't see him because you're just so used to him being such a dominant player. And I believe that's what it is. It's probably more hurt somewhere than tired, and again, it may, like you said, combination of both. But that's what's so impressive about Leon Draisaitl, because he just keeps on rolling.
Would you rest him?
Yeah, I would.
They don't seem to be open to it, but I've heard it a few times, the load management thing. That's the kind of guy you do it with.
They probably can't talk him into it.
Yeah,
I think he's a proud guy that says, I'm going to play through whatever it is. I'm
just
going to
part
be
of the team.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be 50% by the time they get to the playoffs.
Take a look at the Edmonton forward groups for tonight. Obviously, we saw that Stuart Skinner was starting in goal along with the defense that we showed you earlier.
Skinner!
They have, Luddy was talking about McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines. A little bit better as far as having their center depth that way. But
can you honestly look at that lineup? Now, this is not the exact same lineup, right? But look at that and say they were in the finals last year. Like, it doesn't.
I mean, look, Nugent Hopkins is a very good winger.
Time of the year. They got goaltending.
Hyman was scoring like you wouldn't believe. He only has 20 goals this year. He had, 60 last year? He was incredible.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. Now he had a great year. Arvidsson in his time can be a great scorer. I'm not sold on him at the moment, especially not as a two-way guy. But Luddy, you just take this group, line it up against the Stars. I'll take the Stars every day.
When you bring up Hyman, the goals that he scores them from 6 inches
from
the post.
Same as the fourth
and
line,
you know who
right
he gets
winger.
them from. The guy that's not having a real good go at it now.
Yeah.
I mean, relatively.
He's just a point per game player.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that McDavid is actually on a 6-game point streak right now. He's awful.
That's what happens
Terrible.
when you're the best player on the planet. When you're having a little off.
The minus 10s and minus 13s, though, that's real. That worries you.
Well, let's take a look at the way the Stars are lining up. As we talked about earlier, there's Rantanen on the top line. So Granlund moves back for Duchene and Marchment for now. Now, I suggested that if Sagan comes back, everybody moves down. Bork probably moves to the middle, Steel to left, and Oscar Beck probably gets the first one out.
Yep.
But let me ask you this. Is there anything to, Luds, you were talking about this the other day. Is there anything to a right-handed center with Rantanen versus a left-handed center with Rantanen? And if that's the case...
I would think if you're playing a left-handed centerman, you're getting the puck more often.
Right, but why is it that Aho left and Rantanen didn't gel as much, and their countrymates, versus McKinnon a right? Is it just because McKinnon's just that much better of a player?
Doesn't Aho have the puck more on his stick?
Yeah, he's a possession guy.
Hintz's speed. Hintz's strength is speed. And when Hintz gets it, he knows where he's going with this. It doesn't seem like it's on his stick as long as Aho has the puck. And I don't know if that has anything to do with, like when Rantanen played with McKinnon, when McKinnon comes up the ice, it's snapped.
I was going to say,
gone.
Who else that he played with strength is speed? It's McKinnon.
It's McKinnon, and it's gone.
Yeah.
He gives it to him, and it's gone. So I think that, I don't know, but when I think of how Aho plays, you see him kind of snaking his way up the ice.
Yep.
When you're 6'4", 6'5", you want to get up the ice, and you don't want to have to do that, although Rantanen can do that. But he takes over games from the hash marks to the net. So I think it may be even more of a bonus for him only because I think Hintz just seems to be a little bit more McKinnon-like. He probably doesn't put up the points that McKinnon. And McKinnon is a special player too. But I just think because he skates like that and he moves the puck quick.
Take a look at the defense for the Stars real quick. We know that Jake Oettinger starting in goal. Same group. They did not make any additions yesterday. Are we okay with this group and hopefully Miro Heiskanen going into the playoffs?
Do we have a choice?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we're okay with it.
We're okay with it. It worries me a little bit. It just does. I just think that Heiskanen coming back changes the whole thing. But Luds was just talking about Lyubushkin's missed a few times lately. We've seen Bishop go down. It just feels one injury away from relying on someone named Brendan Smith or Matt Dumba for a little more than they need
to. Look at Jake's eyes right there. See how they're looking at us?
That's his reaction.
He's saying, "I got this, guys. Yeah. I got this. Well, you three idiots."
If we weren't, I don't know about you guys. I'm still a little worried about Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
As far as when he comes back, where he'll be, because he's a great player. At some point, he'll get back to Miro Heiskanen levels. Will he be? That's the big question mark. I don't know. Will he be recovered? I'm not doubting that he won't have a chance to play, but it's where will he be? Will he be fully fit?
Okay, so can we?
That to me makes that defense a little more worried.
Can we assume with the addition of Rantanen, if this team is, what did I have in the last? The last 10 games are at like 4.1 goals a game. Can we assume it's going to go up to 4.5, 4.6?
Can they outscore their problems then?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think that may be part of it, that we've got enough up front that we think we can add another half a goal or 3/4 of a goal per game to overcome whatever boo-boos happen back there that Jake can't clean up.
Yeah. Certainly makes me feel a little better, too, that Dumba is the Dumba we have now than not the Dumba that was here in November and December.
Right.
That's a little bit better here.
And we got to admit, he's gotten better. Right.
For sure.
And he's doing things quicker and simpler.
It's a exciting brand of hockey if you're outscoring your problems. It might make some blood pressures, easy for me to say, to go up. Coaches, front office, us, fans.
Not mine.
No, you're happy with that? You played in the Hitch system, which is smothering games, not just outscoring it.
Yeah, but when we had Brett Hull and Joe Nieuwendyk and, Mo, guys like that, Sergei Zubov, we were going to get more than 2 goals. Or at least if they would have been turned loose, if it wasn't the Hitch style era of that, I'm sure those guys, they're all in the Hall of Fame anyways. It wouldn't matter, but I'm sure they would have been a little bit more happy about it. But at the end of the day, when you get to the end of the rainbow, yep, we're good. Everything's fine.
All right, guys, it's time. We've gone over. Thanks for watching. We had tons of people tuning in. I feel like there's things going on in Stars Land, and people are paying attention as we have 20 games to go before the playoffs.
Time for my liver sausage sandwich.
Yeah, did you just
I'm having a liver sausage sandwich.
Victory Plus. Watch it now. We'll be here for the full post-game show. We're going to throw up, whether it's from Ludz's dinner or the grease fumes coming up.
People call it Braunschweiger. It's liver sausage.
Thanks for joining us
Smoky
tonight.
in here.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.